hey, this technology is evolving and getting so good so quickly that you need to step up your game too, because you don't want the client speaking with a computer and then all of a sudden getting you and you're lackluster. You need to bring your game up to a higher level because now that customer is expecting that.
Hello and welcome to /Real Estate, the podcast for the technology-enabled agent. I'm here with Craig Schneider, and we are at the Real Growth Summit, and we're stealing Todd's podcast setup.
Yeah, we're totally stealing this. And to be honest, I can't believe it's been 7 years already. This event has just gotten better every year, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely amazing. So anyway, we just grabbed Craig between sessions, and we're like, all right, we want to talk about AI because you're one of the Real Geeks users that is always pioneering the latest and greatest stuff, the best ways to hack out a little bit extra performance. And so the question we had for you was basically, where are you using AI?
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
All right. So let me start off with, I am definitely a poser in this this environment of AI, and I feel like a lot of people are, and I've caught them in their bluff. But the reality is I think number one, the first message I would share with anybody is if you do not have a paid AI subscription, you got to do that. Just stop listening to this podcast right now and go and sign up for something because you are already behind the curve on
What's
this.
your favorite? What are you using?
I'm just going to the one everybody's on right now, I feel like, which is ChatGPT. And I've made my children get a paid subscription. My wife has her own subscription. Everybody needs their own subscription. You can't just share one, just so you know. If you think you're going to save $20, you got to invest in it. I only can compare this to basically in the 90s, deciding if you were going to get an internet connection to your house. That's kind of how this is, times 100. So you got to get on this new thing. And when you start seeing what it can do for your business, it will totally change the direction of where you go with your business.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. I want to ask a little bit about have you experimented with Claude or Gemini, or are you just on ChatGPT?
So when I first got in, I'll just give you the short. At the beginning of the year, this year that we're in right now, which is 2025, I committed personally to saying, hey, I'm going to put 20 minutes a day towards kind of learning this new technology. I kind of understood what it was, but I didn't understand the idiosyncrasies, and I didn't have a paid subscription. I was just kind of doing the free stuff. Number one, if you're using a free one right now with ChatGPT, it is totally different than the paid one. It's
100%.
Similar, but not the same.
Right.
You get way better results with the paid one. And you don't need, I'm not even on the $200 one, but I'm getting close because daily I'm getting feedback from it now that's saying, hey, you've gone past your allotment of available time on it and such. So I feel like I'm edging towards the point where I might need to upgrade that or look for other services. At the same time, I also did the graphics one, and I went mid-journey.
Okay.
And to be honest, that was very, very confusing. I almost felt like I had to be more of a software engineer type because you have to get on Discord to use it properly. And if you don't understand what any of this is, I would say just avoid it. Go right to ChatGPT. You don't need mid-journey unless you're going to be doing some crazy kind of video stuff or something like that. I was just trying to learn the technology at the time, and at that time, which was very short time ago, they didn't, ChatGPT really didn't have any type of graphic stuff. Now it does, and it actually, I've compared the two against each other, and for the stuff that you'll use it for in real estate or just your regular kind of marketing stuff, you'll find that the ChatGPT does a better job of it. And let me just put one last point. I'm sorry, Chris. Just because I'm so passionate about this. The other thing that ChatGPT does way better than Midjourney is with the words. Because I think because ChatGPT is a language platform, it's way better at actually putting the proper words into the graphics, where Midjourney will put some scrambled up words a lot of times.
No, it's really bad at it.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's what I want to know. As you were going down this path, what were the first the first tasks that you tried to execute?
So I did the normal kind of like no surprises here at all. Like everybody's, you update your bio, the first day you can do a listing a listing description. Those are kind of the basics that everybody's like, oh, that's what it's amazing for. But I'd love to share some additional things that we've learned over time.
This is exactly what I want out of you.
And I'll share how I kind of got to this situation as well. I made the commitment to myself, but then I got about into the first, or right at probably the end of the first quarter, and I said, hey, I got to get my team to be doing this too, and to be comfortable with this technology, and to be, just understanding of it. And that was the best thing I did, because they're way smarter than me, and they started bringing like, hey, I just tried to do it with this, or I tried to do it with that. So one thing that was like eye-opening to us was we've been using it to, what the agent will do is they'll go through on a listing presentation, they'll snap some photos of the house. They'll just go through on the listing presentation time. And then what we do is we bring those just snapshots back and we dump them into ChatGPT, and we say, act as a professional stager and let us know what you would do in each one of these rooms to make it better. And then we take that report and we feed it back to the customer. So it's like after kind of the service touch to show that, hey, we're doing things above and beyond. We don't let them know we're going to do that or anything else, but it helps kind of make that agent set themselves apart a little bit. So that's one small thing that we're doing.
I mean, I wouldn't even have thought about doing that, but it actually makes a lot of sense because, I mean, and for people that don't know, like the AIs are weirdly good at looking at what's in a photo and digesting that. So like I do a lot of, taking screenshots of screens and saying like, I need to understand what's happening here. Why am I getting this error message?
Yeah.
So the use case of, but I want to understand what's going on in this house. It's really cool.
It's wild when you'd say, hey, go ahead and give me an example photo of how that would look better. And then it like actually spits out a photo of that same room, like laid out differently. And you're looking at it and you're like, this is magic. I don't know how this is doing it. So yeah, that's a really cool use case.
Okay, so house staging. Maybe rewinding a little bit, like, okay, so you sign up for ChatGPT and you start trying things like update my bio. But, I think the same thing that happens to everyone is like, you type in that first prompt and you get the response back and it's like, well, that sort of sucks.
Yeah. So once again, I think this is where if you tried not to do it just on your own and you bring in a group, a mastermind of other users. So like, once again, we forced all of our agents to get an account, and now we share on a daily or a couple times a week scenario of how are you using this today in your business and what are the results. That's where you're going to get the best feedback, as you're saying, because you kind of learn really quickly as a group of what are its limitations. Now, number one, we do not send out any correspondence emails at all at our company. It's a rule in our company unless it's gone through chat. Now, here's my rule. You have to write the response yourself first. So you read the email, you write the response, and then you take the whole email, the original email and your response, and put it in and say, hey, rewrite this in this tone, or rewrite this to sound better or more professional. And then once again, you have to do your job, read it again before you just blast it out. But that's where you're going to get it's still going to have your inflection, your tone. And the system also learns off of that. So as you do it more and more, you have to prompt it less because it kind of knows who you are already. So it's building that up. And if you want to learn something cool, ask ChatGPT after you've used it for a few months what it knows about you, and it will tell you a bunch of creepy stuff that you would never have imagined it learned just from you interacting with it.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one when I did that. Okay, so because it is interesting, like as you start to use it, how it like adapts to you, and like it goes from, I call it like vanilla ChatGPT, and I just, it's so glaring when someone sends me something that they like had just typed in a prompt and took the first thing and spit it out. So I like the idea that you have to write something first before, and then you put it into chat, and then that output. And I guess the other thing that I usually say on that is it gets you like 80% of the way there, but after you've been using it for a while, it gets you more like 98% of the way there. But you still have to put like a little sprinkle on it, I usually feel like.
Well, here's another thing that I'm predicting, and it's just I'm nerding out of this stuff right now, and I'm glad to talk to somebody else that kind of understands what it is we were talking at my last week's meeting. I was kind of giving them a little hint on some of the stuff you guys are doing. We're recent Robin adopters, which is actually called Chat or Geek AI.
Yep.
And so we brought that technology in, and we were just floored with how good it is at converting clients. And I can talk all day on that as a separate topic. But the thing I was sharing with my team is I said, hey, this technology is evolving and getting so good so quickly that you need to step up your game too, because you don't want the client speaking with a computer and then all of a sudden getting you and you're lackluster. You need to bring your game up to a higher level, because now that customer is expecting that. And I've worked in industries before where I've worked for people, and I was working at such a high level, and then we would pass them on to the next person, and they weren't giving them that level of expected service that I was giving them up front. And it was either I had to leave the company or the company had to step up. And in one case, it was the first. The second case, it was the second. But the reality is you need to step your game up. And the way you're going to do this is by actually using AI, because as you're doing it, I always say it's kind of like spell check when it first came out. You're relying on it heavily at first, but then over time you start actually learning how to spell words properly in a lot of cases, right? So, and I think this is the same kind of technology that it's going to teach you to be a better human, hopefully. So.
Yes. Okay, man, there was a lot there, and I'm trying to figure out like the best avenue to go down. Man. Okay.
So you gotta get better to compete against.
Well,
chat.
yeah. Okay. So the same thing is like pretty true, even for us as a marketing team, because the other avenue, or the other thing that I say to my team is, these tools are like here to stay, right?
Yeah, they're not going away.
And they are absolutely changing the way that we do our job. Right. So like I remember when I came into the marketing world, like sometime around 2008, like paid search was a new thing, on the scene, and everyone was trying to figure out how to use analytics and understand web traffic, or all the tooling around that. And it was this massive learning curve coming from like traditional Marcom organizations, right? Like all of a sudden marketing people were having to be technical.
Correct.
And now everyone is having to grapple with, how do we technically use the AIs, and how do we best implement them, in our industries?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's another avenue of this, and I want to explore the other use cases that you've done with ChatGPT.
Well, let me tell you one that's going to blow your mind. I actually used it to pick my wardrobe today. Not just today, but like for like work in general. So like if you don't want a lot of time thinking about like where you're going to go buy your next time you go to clothes shopping, I went to Chat and I said, hey, I'm trying to have a uniform kind of based look, but I want to look professional. What would you suggest? And then it starts asking you some additional questions like, how do you feel comfortable? What do what colors do you like to wear, and all this other stuff. And then it basically I hired a stylist through my $20 subscription to ChatGPT. So, it's a weird kind of thing, but I think you got to think bigger. You got to think way outside the box of how this thing can help you on a daily basis.
Did it one-shot that, or did you have some back and forth with it a couple of times before you got to an answer? You're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So my chat knows I'm not a one question chat. Like, and that's the other thing. It does start learning who you are. And so the reality is we go deep. So, I get an answer. I'm like, but is that the best answer you have, chat? And it will go deeper and it will help you deeper. And sometimes you have to ask it, what did I not ask you? What did I forget to ask you? Or ask me 10 questions on this to get you the best results. Because it can only do so much with the data it has available. And especially if it's custom to you, you need to feed it with as much of that as possible. I mentor a bunch of kids as well. And, I said, hey, this is an awesome time to like start building your resume. Like Chat, like if you tell it everything about you, it can write the most amazing resume about you ever, because it knows everything about you. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I like make this 100 times better. Is a good one. And then the other thing is like you have to kind of go look up what the code words are, but there are some prompts that have like almost like coded like specific meanings to that bot. So for Claude, for example, there's like 3 or 4 different levels of thinking So
Yeah, and maybe you should identify what Claude is for people who don't know.
good.
So,
Okay,
like
so
myself.
right. Okay, so there's like 3 big LLM providers, right? ChatGPT, which everyone knows is kind of the Kleenex now,
Yep.
right? Google Gemini, which is actually my personal favorite.
Yep.
And then Anthropic Claude, Claude by Anthropic, which if you are into writing code, you know everything about because it is the one that writes, I mean, crazy code. Like I actually developed an iOS application like using Claude code, and it's in the App Store now. It's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Claude has 4 different levels of thinking. It's like think, and then it's all the way up to like ultra think. And so you'll tell it like, I want you to ultra think about this.
Okay.
And then it kind of dictates like how deep it needs to go on solving the problem.
Yep.
And so especially when you get to that point where you're like circling with AI, and it's like, I need to break you out of, whatever. It's like, no, I need you to really go think about this. Like, go ultra think about this.
Because that will happen.
Yeah.
I mean, for a new user not using like a chat bot, sometimes it'll start asking you the same question again. And then I challenge it. I'll say, hey, why did you do that? I've even caught it, like, surprisingly enough, with some simple math that it's messed up. Where I'm like, hey, how did you get this wrong? And, and then I'll ask it. And it is good to ask it because it will train it as well. But you do have to check stuff because there are things where even like some simple things where you're just like, or you tell it to do something and say, never do that again. And it will do it again sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And user, never, the listener, please never upload a spreadsheet and it's like, let's say 1,000 rows and ask it to do like some complex mathematical thing.
Right.
Because these are large language models. Right? It's like asking us how we feel about this spreadsheet.
Yep.
And so it will give you something, but the chances of it hallucinating are very high.
Yeah.
So one of the things I love that a lot of the LLMs will do is when they write a script, like they'll write a Python script to do the analysis for you, then I feel really good about what it's coming back with because I'm like, I can go change the data, rerun the script, and get the same result or get a consistent result. So I know that it's not hallucinating.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, what else are you using it for?
Well, so I wanted to say, we recently started using it, as I said, as part of our platform with the Real Geeks with the chat Geek AI.
Yeah.
And, to me, I've been sharing with my team that it's critically important to have as good notes in your CRM as possible because the more information that the bot has, the easier it's going to be to create.
And that'll be even more important in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. And, even from like the ability to like, even if you can, whatever you can get in there, the better. And having it in one source that it can continue to use. So that's another place where we're trying to get ahead of our competition in that sense. Are we perfect? No. I mean, I'm still trying to get my agent to make phone calls a lot of times. But, the reality is the more comfortable you are with it, the more you want to use it. So
Yeah. Okay, Craig, I got homework for you. Okay, so Claude Code and Gemini Code both have, and ChatGPT's got a version as well, where it runs on your desktop, on your local machine via command line.
Okay.
Right? And so then there's a whole bunch of like really interesting follow-on things you can do. So developers love this because that's how they use it to write, applications, whatever.
Certainly.
Right? But I've been experimenting with using that same tooling to do things like write ad copy and have multiple agents acting on that process. And because it's on your computer and it can touch files directly, all of a sudden it can do things that are maybe a little bit more involved.
Right.
So I want to send you down this path and we'll connect later and
yeah, we're going to have to. We're definitely going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I'm trying to think of other things that we did. I had like a mental list, but then I just got my socks blown off by what Kevin had shared. And I'm like, wait, I don't know nothing about this, like where this can truly go. But the reality is I think it's just a comfort level. You have to get out there and you have to just start using it. And the more you use it, the more stuff you use it for. And I think it's important just to be honest with it and to take it and take it to the next level and push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. But, however you're going to be able to do that, I think you just need to find the way to do that. But I think what we're saying here is this is not a sleeper. This is something that you literally have to get involved in. And the quicker you do, the better outcome you're going to have, because it's going to have more information about you.
Well, absolutely. And maybe the other thing I would say is, if someone's thinking like, oh, well, AI will ultimately get built into my Real Geeks, or it'll get built into my phone, or it'll get built into whatever, it's so beneficial to play with kind of the raw technology so that you understand when it's talking to you, like what part's the raw LLM versus what part is like the prompt that Real Geeks has put in there. And you can just see more nuance to what it's spitting out, which is just going to help you course correct when things are not going your ideal direction.
Well, and I think it also makes you feel a little bit more comfortable that it's not going to replace you. I always tell everybody in my office, like, yeah, I still can't get my printer to work properly, so I'm not worried that AI is going to take over tomorrow. However, I feel like it truly elevates somebody who's using it is going to elevate their business tenfold. There's just no way you can compete against somebody just because of the time that's involved in being able to do it. Another example that we've been using it for lately is we'll do like a CMA like we would normally do it, a competitive market analysis. Yep. And we have all the data already that we bring to the appointment for the client. So what we do is we actually take that, dump it into ChatGPT, and ask it for, hey, what's the best strategy for this house? What do you think the price will be? Yeah. And ask it, and then number one, it helps you confirm that, like, hey, I'm on the right base. Yeah. And number two, it's, we share it with the client. We say, hey, we're putting this in the newest technology. We want to show you that we're tech forward and that we're using these things, and we're going to identify things. Now, there's luckily, and I'll say I've been doing this for a very long time in a very small market, so. Yeah. Luckily, I haven't had any major surprises where it tells me something I'm completely off base. However, I'm a senior agent that's been doing this for a very long time. So if you're a junior agent, this could be very helpful. This is the other thing I want to tell you, because now I just remembered, because I had a list and I forgot. Guys,
this should be like a 4-hour episode. We're trying to do it in like 20 minutes.
This is the coolest thing. If you're a brand new agent, ChatGPT, you can actually talk to it. Like if you don't know that. So what you can do is you set it up to talk to it, and you can ask it questions and talk to it and it gets a little creepy because that becomes your new friend, and and it happens really quickly. The adoption is insane. But you can say, hey, role play with me. If you're a new agent, you want to learn how to make phone call scripts, and you can tell it, what level. So, hey, role play with me and be a level 8 difficulty customer on a new internet lead, and it will heighten the game, and then after you've done the role play, ask it, hey, what could I have done better? What could I have said better? What should I have asked that I didn't? How could I have overcome that objection you gave me? Yeah. And it will teach you to a level that's way better than any coaching. And I hate to say it against any coaches, but it's hard to role play as a coach.
It's one-to-one. Yeah, it's that direct role play plus one-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
Right?
It's amazing.
So the question I wanted to ask you was, by the way, Todd was on that 2 years ago. Okay. So the question I wanted to ask you is, have you built any custom GPTs yet using basically your internal documentation?
I have not. And I'll tell you, the only reason I haven't is I want to give you guys a head start. And, I feel like I've given you enough now. So, I'm on it now. But to be honest, I'm still running a brokerage and I'm always, I'm focused on that and family life and stuff. And, the thing with all this AI is, to me, it's a black hole. It's a dangerous hole for me. Oh, yeah. So I'll go down and lock myself into it for 6 hours and be like, what did I just do? So, I do want to do some of that, but I have not yet. And I'm learning enough to understand what the bots and all that. And
so the thing I'll leave you with is, if you make a custom GPT and you put in the context a lot of the information that you would give to a new agent. Yeah. So last year at the conference, Nora was talking about all the stuff that you provide to the new agents as they get started. It will accelerate the level of precision and the quality of the responses coming out dramatically. Fantastic. So when you were talking about the CMAs, I would give it several examples of CMAs that you love. Okay. And maybe even a document that says hey, if you're a new agent, this is how you make a CMA. and it'll be golden really fast.
Great. I'm going to go do this tonight.
Yeah. Well, we're going to dinner next. So after
I got my computer with me. So.
Well, we could just do it at dinner. Kevin will be there. All right, Craig, it's awesome to chat with you.
Well,
and
thanks for throwing this at me and put me on the spot. I appreciate it. But I think it was good to share. And, I just want to let everybody know, don't be afraid of it. Just embrace it. I mean, it's here to stay. And, it's going to change your life. I mean, it is. It's a weird thing, but it changes your life.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on my website, which is norchar.com. It's NORCHAR.com.
Craig, thanks for joining us. This is awesome. All right, everyone. Ask comments, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next one.